The sounds of incoming rocket fire in southern Israel. You're watching Clear Cut. I'm Michelle McCory. The Israeli army saying that more than 400 rockets and mortar shells have been launched at Israel from the Gaza Strip. That is the largest number ever fired in one day, according to Israel's security agency Shin Bet. Israel saying that it responded with airstrikes throughout the Gaza Strip that hit over 70 Hamas and Islamic Jihad military targets. Now, according to the Gaza Health Ministry, at least 2 Palestinians have been killed in these strikes. Islamic Jihad and Hamas vowing to respond to Israel's action. And word now that a 60-year-old man killed in Ashkelon, buried under the rubble caused by one of those rockets. Now, this violence comes a day after 7 Palestinian terrorists and an Israeli soldier were killed during an undercover Israeli operation in Gaza. All right, joining us now is Jessie Jane Duff, a retired gunnery sergeant with the United States Marine Corps and a senior fellow with the London Center for Policy Research. Thank you for being with us, Jessie. Israel bombarded with over 400 rockets overnight. What is your reaction?
Well, Israel is obviously defending itself. It was on an undercover operation in the Gaza, and it took out a Hamas commander. Needless to say, an Israeli soldier also died once this happened, and then Hamas responded with, the Palestinians responded with rocket fire raining down upon Israel. Israel did respond back with about 70 attacks itself. It had tanks and motors going back at Palestine, and essentially what you've now got is a huge quandary of difficulty, because taking out the Hamas commander was critical for the safety and security of Israel. Hamas has never been a foe or friend has never been a friend to Israel, and because of this relationship, it was designed for the security of Israel to remove him. But now they have to deal with further attack and potentially more Israelis being killed by Hamas.
Look, Jessie, it's not for lack of trying that the injuries on the Israeli side have been so far limited to 1 civilian that was buried under the rubble. It is the Iron Dome defense system that has managed to prevent this. So how should Israel react? Because if this was any other country in the world having its civilians bombarded by over 400 rockets, safe to say it wouldn't show the same level of restraint that Israel is showing. What do you expect from the IDF going forward?
Well, the IDF has made it clear that they're going to respond with this with an iron fist. However, they're very strategic. They have gone after only the Islamic-backed terrorist groups along with Hamas. They have not gone after civilian sites. They have not rained down upon the civilian population. And even by the own account of the Hamas-backed health ministry, they indicated that it was the Hamas leaders that had been killed in this, or those that were causing these attacks. There have not been necessarily a record of civilians, although we have known in the past that they have exacerbated or exaggerated or actually lied about some of those that have died. So we have yet to see what is going to come out of the Palestinian people as to what the level of death toll is. But what we do know with the Israelis, they have protected themselves. They are definitely a fortress because of what they expect from this. They are hated and despised. Keep in mind, Iran backs Hamas. Iran has always said death to Israel. They have never supplied any type of generosity towards Israel, nor would we expect that now. So Hamas is going to go after them with a vengeance for taking out their leader. I don't expect this is going to get resolved overnight.
Jessie, let's talk about the role of Iran here. Is that how Hamas is getting these rockets? Because it's warning that it does have rockets with an extended range. So far, they have been able to reach as far north as Ashkelon. Hamas warning that this is just the beginning and adding, and I quote, 1 million Zionists will be in the way of Gaza missiles. Where are they getting this ammunition from?
It does appear that it comes from Iran. Iran has definitely become the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism, although that may sound like a broken record. It is actually something that doesn't seem to get into anyone's heads, particularly even our European Union, who is hesitant to have the sanctions. Iran's hands and fingerprints are on every single weapon that has gone after Israel. We have seen this even in Syria. They have backed Bashar al-Assad. Any interest that expands their interest is what they will try to take or or aggressively destroy or kill. So yes, Hamas is backed by Iran. We know that this is where they get their weaponry, because they're certainly not getting it from the United States, and they're certainly not getting it from our European allies. We may question on some of those overlaps, but what it boils down to is Iran is behind this always and forever.
Jessie, you have an enemy that is sworn to the state of Israel's destruction, firing over 400 rockets at civilians, and there's been very little in the way of international condemnation or reaction for this behavior. What do you make of that?
Well, are we surprised? We've never seen the UN go after any of the aggressions that have gone against Israel. In fact, they have tried to flip the script and blame Israel. They have accused Israel of being the aggressor. Every time Israel has taken a proactive measure to defend themselves, such as taking out a Hamas leader, such as taking out terrorists throughout the world, such as even taking out the nuclear plant that Syria tried to develop in their own country, Israel has to be proactive. They can't wait to be reactive. They don't have that luxury. They don't have the luxury of sitting back like the United States often does and wait till it gets struck. We can afford to do that because we are considered a world threat. But Israel has to defend itself even before it sometimes happens.
Jessie Jane Duff, thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate your analysis.